Noah had always been fascinated by the old railway station at the edge of town. Most people avoided the place. The station had been abandoned for years. The tracks were covered with weeds, the waiting room was dark, and the old railway lamps had not worked in decades. But Noah had always felt that there was something different about it, something he could not explain. Slightly curious. One cold evening, while walking home, Noah heard something strange. A voice, quietly. It seemed to come from somewhere beyond the abandoned platform. Noah stopped. He looked around. There was nobody there. Then he heard it again. This time the voice sounded closer. Noah followed it toward the railway tracks. The farther he walked, the thicker the mist became. At the end of the platform, a single old lamp was glowing. Noah knew that lamp should not have been working. He stepped closer. And then he saw a man standing beside the tracks. An elderly man with a weathered face, an old railway coat, and a lantern in his hand. His name was Elias. Elias looked at Noah as if he had been expecting him. Noah asked him what he was doing there. The old man did not answer immediately. Instead, he asked Noah a question. Quiet, deliberate. Have you ever wondered why this station was abandoned? Noah stared at him. He had heard stories about the station before. People said trains had once stopped here without appearing on any timetable. Others claimed that people who entered the station sometimes heard voices belonging to people who were no longer alive. But Noah had never believed those stories. Not until that night. Slightly tense. Elias led him inside the old station. Behind a locked wooden door was a room Noah had never seen before. Inside were shelves filled with railway records, old maps, photographs, and dusty books. Elias placed his lantern on a table. Then he opened an enormous old ledger. Page after page contained names, dates, and railway records. Noah leaned closer. Something about the handwriting felt strangely familiar. Elias turned another page, then another, until he stopped. There was a photograph attached to one of the pages. Noah stared at it. The photograph showed the same railway platform, but it had been taken many decades earlier, and standing on that platform was a young man. Noah's face went pale. The young man looked almost exactly like him. Not similar. Not someone who merely reminded him of himself. It was as though Noah was looking at another version of his own face. Shocked, quieter. He looked at Elias. The old man remained silent. Noah demanded to know who the man in the photograph was. Elias finally answered, low, deliberate. That is the question you came here to ask. Noah did not understand. He looked through the photographs again. There were dozens of them. Different years, different people, but the same station. And in several photographs, the same mysterious figure appeared in the background, always watching, always standing near the tracks. Noah began turning the photographs over one by one. Then he found another image. This time the photograph showed a woman, and beside her stood a little girl. Noah recognized the woman. It was his mother, but the photograph was far older than Noah's own childhood. He looked at Elias in disbelief, shocked. How is my mother in these photographs? Elias lowered his eyes. For the first time, the old man looked afraid. He told Noah that some stories do not begin when we discover them. They begin long before we are born. Noah looked toward the dark railway tracks outside, and once again he heard the voice. But this time it spoke his name, whispering, Noah. He froze. The lantern flickered. The room fell silent, low, ominous. Then Elias whispered, Now you know why I was waiting for you. Elias slowly removed one final photograph from behind the old ledger. He had been hiding it for years. When he turned it toward Noah, the boy could barely breathe. The photograph showed a young man standing on the same railway platform. The face was unmistakable. It was Noah. Or at least it looked exactly like him. Noah demanded an explanation. Elias told him that the station was connected to something that should never have happened. A passage through time. But the passage did not simply take people into the past. Sometimes it showed them what they could become, a future that might still happen. Then Noah heard the voice again. He turned toward the platform. And there, standing beneath the old railway lamp, was a man. He looked like Noah, but older, much older. He was approximately 30 years old. The same eyes, the same face, the same person. Only time had changed him. Noah stared at him in disbelief. The older man slowly stepped forward. He was not a ghost. He was not a shadow. He was Noah's future self. Future Noah looked at the boy with sadness. I know what happens next. Noah wanted to know how. Future Noah told him that the station was not showing him the past by accident. Someone connected to Noah's family was at the center of the mystery. The answer was inside the old photograph. Noah looked again. The woman standing in the photograph was his mother, Elena. When Noah returned home, he showed her the photograph. The moment Elena saw it, her expression changed. She knew exactly what it was. For years, she had kept the story hidden. She finally admitted that the abandoned station was connected to something that had happened long before Noah was born. There was another person in the photograph, a little girl. A girl Noah had never seen before. Her name was Maya. Elena had known Maya's family many years ago, but there was something else. Maya was still alive, and she was living near the same railway line. The next evening, Noah found her. Maya stood quietly near the railway neighborhood, looking toward the abandoned station. When she turned and saw Noah, something strange happened. She suddenly became still. She looked at the railway tracks as though she remembered them, but she could not explain why. Noah realized that Maya was connected to the mystery too. Then the truth began to come together. The station had never been abandoned because it was dangerous. It had been abandoned because people had discovered what it could do. It could show a person another possible life. A life that might have happened. A future that might still happen. But every choice had a consequence. Future Noah appeared again that night. He warned Noah not to believe that changing the past would simply make everything better. You cannot save everyone. Noah finally understood. The future he had seen was not a prediction carved in stone. It was one possible future. And now Noah had a choice. He could chase the impossible answer, or he could accept the truth and protect the people who were still beside him. At dawn, Noah stood beside the railway tracks holding the old photograph. For the first time, he was no longer afraid. Future Noah stood beneath the old lamp. The two versions of Noah looked at each other. There was no anger, only understanding. Future Noah smiled. Then he slowly walked toward the morning mist. Noah watched until the older version of himself disappeared into the distance. Later that morning, Noah stood beside Elena and Maya. The three of them looked toward the railway station. The mystery had changed them, but it had not destroyed them. Noah looked at the old photograph one final time. Then he put it away. Some questions are meant to be answered. Others are meant to teach us something. The railway station had shown Noah a possible future, but it had also taught him something far more important. The future is not something we simply discover. It is something we choose. And as Noah, Elena, and Maya walked away from the abandoned tracks, the old station slowly disappeared behind them in the morning light. For years, Noah had believed the station was hiding a secret. Now he understood. The real secret had never been the railway. It had always been the choices people make, and the lives those choices create. Sometimes the future comes looking for us, but we do not have to become the person it expects. We can choose another path.